This is a group call recording with my one-on-one clients. And in this, we go over how to identify what the problem is with your business, because this is the number one thing that stops a lot of people, a lot of online coaches from getting more clients and even scaling to 10K a month, right? And the second thing is I share an Apple story. So Apple's a multi-billion dollar company, right? In fact, they're probably $1 trillion company. So, I went and I analyzed Apple's history and I found the stuff that Steve Jobs did that allowed Apple to progress, right? So we take examples inside of 369 Elites. We take examples from not just like people who've made it like a couple million or something. We want to take examples from billions and we want to apply it, right? Because that's like the root. So I share insights on that and how you could apply with your online coaching business so it could help you get more clients. And then I also show you guys how to do outreach, and I show you actual outreach messages that I've used to close clients. And one of the clients is actually in this call, so it works. So yeah, also take into account and notice how these are just some of my clients, right? And I notice how I ask all of them for updates, all of them, and all of them have wins to share, right? So just try to take that into account too, of the results, how I'm not just sharing my results of what I did. Like, I'm asking all my clients to share what they've done, and all of them have a win to share. So just take that into account too. And if you guys found this video valuable, make sure you guys click the down below. I am taking in 4 more people for 2026 to help you build an online fitness coaching business. And even, if you have an online coaching business, sure, you too, right? And for you to be able to do it full time, to make 5 to 10K a month. And if you're already somebody who's making, let's say 30K a month, but you want to start a YouTube channel, feel free to book in a call down below too. And keep in mind, even prior to this call, a lot of these guys, for them to get this type of result, and the reason why they're crushing it is because I get on one-on-one calls with all of them, right? And I'm helping them one-on-one so they get actual one-on-one attention rather than just group calls. And they get it every single week, right? So I'm helping them. I'm in the trenches, one-on-one with them, literally guiding them A through Z. So that's why they're able to succeed, right? That's why when we get on group calls, they're I ask all of them what wins they have, and they're able to share it, all right? So enjoy this video, guys. And like I mentioned, if you guys want to start your online coaching business and do it full-time, get to 5 to 10K a month, click the link down below and book in a call for 2026. And yeah, enjoy. So yeah, let's start off this call by sharing some wins. So yeah, Aryan, first, tell us some stuff that you've achieved, any recent wins just in general.
Yeah, I got you. So I just hit 600 members on Skool. It's all growing organically. Content has been going well. Client results as well has been going, pretty good as well. But yeah, in terms of recent wins, that's the most recent stuff. I've been able to pretty much, obviously working with you has let me create a high ticket offer, reach out to the right people, and just help them transform their lives. So recent Skool stuff, but then overall in general, it's been the coaching and info has been really fun. So I love it a lot.
Amazing. So I'm going to share my screen here so you guys can see. So yeah, Aryan just hit 600 members. He's also, obviously you guys know he made 10K in a single month with his online coaching business. So just wanted to share that win. Justin, yeah, share us some wins that you've seen so far.
Yeah, so just actually got off a call 10 minutes ago. So I think now I have about 4 guys lined up for the new year that actually want to jump on board. Obviously Christmas is just a busy time, so they didn't want to sign up right now. A lot of money being spent. But yeah, new year they're locked down. So that's obviously a big win, something to look forward to. And then content's being better. My overall views have gone up even more than double, I think, from last month. So pretty stoked about that. And yeah, clients are seeing wins, getting messages from them about how they're feeling the best that they ever have. So yeah.
Amazing. Did you get that tattoo you were talking about?
I did. It's healing up nicely. It's a bit itchy. I completely I wanted to put it on the chat,
Hmm.
but I wasn't able to get like a good picture of it. So I'm gonna
Hmm.
have to get a good picture and put it up on school.
Mm. Mm.
But yeah,
Would you
I did get
would
it.
you get again? You got Relentless?
I got a relentless right on the thigh.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazon has the domain relentless.com. So if you search up relentless.com, Amazon pops up. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, you got how much clients do you have total now? Just in general?
Right now, I think I'm sitting at 17.
17?
Uh,
Okay.
yeah. And
Got you.
then, in the year, new year, sorry, hopefully stocking on a bunch more. So
Amazing, man. Amazing, man. Yeah, and you had we did our case study video. You recently had your high month, right? So that's definitely a
yeah.
good share. And I know you had a new high record video too, right? I think it's at like 148K now on Instagram, that one reel on the car.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's
amazing.
closing in on 150K, so it's kind of cool.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, and then Cornell, share us your recent win, man. I know something happened. You made a big decision.
Yes, yes, I quit my job and went full time in this. Even though I just got one client, but I have savings for like 10 months, so I just went all in.
Amazing, man. That's really where it starts. I remember like when I got my first ever client online, that changed the game. Like that's the same thing that happened. I was in college at that time. I literally dropped out, right? Just being able to know that this is real. It's like the domino effect is crazy. It's crazy. So amazing win, my man. Going full time with it. Okay. And then Steven, man, share us your win. I know you launched a school community, right? And then you recently had something along with your recent YouTube video. What happened?
All right, so the YouTube video just hit 1,000 views, I think today.
Mm-hmm.
That was from last week. I've got one call booked tomorrow, and I got on two calls this week, so two people interested in working with me for the new year.
Amazing, amazing, Steven. This dude is literally like his YouTube channel, he's gonna crush it with YouTube. I already know that. Like if we go into Steven's channel here, I'm gonna pull it up for you guys. This dude, he posted calisthenic videos because he's really into calisthenics. And his YouTube videos crushing. You have like a proven format too now, right? Like every time you post a video, like those type of videos are performing better.
I think so far. I still need to experiment more, but I think I'm on a better path now.
Amazing. Yeah, if I pull up here, look, guys, he posted this calisthenic video and it's already at 1K. Dude, congrats on finding that formula. Like this one is doing pretty good too. So it's really just doing more of that. Now, Justice, man, share some recent stuff you've been working on, some recent ones. It could be anything. Share some stuff, content related, anything related.
Let's get it, bro. Yeah, I'm still in the beginning stages of this, but getting reps, in the DMs and in the calls. I've had a couple, I'm just taking any call I can get, even if they click the little no on the ready to invest. Just getting those reps in and getting more comfortable with it. And then content wise, just trying to get more personable. I've had some comments down there that serve as leads, so I'll be able to open up conversations that way, and that's what I'm trying to lean towards now.
Amazing, amazing. For those of you guys that don't know, Justice, he's grown his Instagram to like, what are you at? Like more than 12, 13K? You're at like 13K now?
Oh, around 13, yeah.
Yeah, so like, yeah, amazing, amazing. Yeah, congrats on that, Justice. You're sitting on tons of leads now. Yours is the converting part, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's definitely amazing. But yeah, so we are gonna go back into here. I'm gonna share my screen. All right, so we're gonna go here. Agenda, we shared some wins. Now, here's the goal, right? Coming to even like now in 2026. Like, for example, right now, for me, in terms of like cold audience, right? Cold audience, my metrics is about like 9 calls turned into one client every 9 calls. It's like a proven thing. I'm like, okay, like I know if I do this, it's gonna turn into clients, right? But in terms of warm audience, which means like, I get them inside of my school, I warm them up and stuff like that. It's usually like my close rate is like I close 1 out of 4 calls or like, even 50% sometimes.
in terms of like warm audience, which is why we also teach like having school. For example, right? Like in the 1st of November, already got 7.5K cash collected. And once with warm audience, it's just way easier in terms of like, I've even been able to get like 5K clients in a single day. It was like 4.8K revenue, 10K cash collected. This was in a single day. And that was with a warm audience. And it was more of like subtraction. So it wasn't adding more new stuff, it was removing stuff, right? So as you can see, like this is like the amount of calls that I've booked within the last year, right? So it's like about 479 calls taken, coaching calls, book calls, all that stuff taken, right? And as you can see, it's like a linear, it's a progression if you look at it in like a grand scale. So when you really just do more of what works and you remove stuff instead, that's when you start just taking massive, massive leaps, right? And even my plan is to just remove more stuff, which I'm going to talk more into after taking literally about like over 381 calls. I've gathered a lot of the data, found out what the constraints are, and we're going to talk about it today here. So there's 3 main problems that I see after getting on tons of calls, after coaching for over 2 years, built different coaching businesses, all that stuff. Something that I realized is there's really 3 core problems. People are doing too many things, right? And not enough of the few things that actually work, right? The next one is having attention, but no like simple step for people to take a call. And the third problem is not talking to enough people to fairly judge your offer and test it, right? Because for example, me personally, I thought I was in the beginning, before I was even in this online space, I've been like, I was a sales specialist, fragrance sales specialist, right? And I had a lot of reps in, like even in the mall selling fragrances and all that stuff. So I had built up that skill before. And when I joined online, I took like a bunch of calls and I was like, these people aren't closing and all that stuff. And then that made me think that I was bad at sales, when in reality, it was just that these people weren't qualified, right? So don't remember, business isn't binary. So always remember, you want to talk to as many people as possible before you judge your offer, or you tell yourself like, oh, this isn't working, it's not bad, XYZ, right? So it's always like a volume issue in the beginning. So these are 3 problems. And here's going to be the topics that are going to tie into all of this stuff. First one is we're going to go into Apple, right? I did a lot of research on Apple, the company, multi-billion-dollar company, probably $1 trillion or something like that, right? And I'm going to bring real examples on how to apply certain stuff into your business. The second one is going to be the 1 growth lever. And then the third thing that we're going to talk about is diagnosing constraints. And then towards the end of this call, we're going to have Q&As, okay? So the Apple story, right? So Apple started in a garage, 2 guys building computers, right? Selling to a tiny group of nerds. Then Apple gets its first real win with the Apple II. It's like an old computer. I actually grew up in Silicon Valley, and like the high school that I was supposed to go in, it was actually where the first, like the Apple computer was supposed to be made, right? But anyways, back to the point, the early Macs, right? Then revenue jumps, right? People got excited, and the market clearly proved that they have stuff that people want. So the product worked, and there was demand just from the fact that they made money, right? As Apple grows, it gets messy, right? As they start growing, too many products, then they started getting confusion, leadership, drama, just a bunch of distractions, right? And then, not a lot of people mention this, right? But Apple starts drifting away, right? From what made it good, which is just a few great products, clearly marketing it, right? Just simple things, right? Sales started to slow down, margins started to shrink, focus disappeared. And guess what? You know what people started to blame? They started to blame the industry. They started to blame the competition. They started to blame not having enough time, all those different stuff, right? So the fix is to cut the noise and refocus, right? And the best way to do that is, where are your hours and energy actually going, right? So the best thing to do is crave out a non-negotiable daily. Like, let's say, even if, for example, you had a different business, or maybe you have other XYZ going on, right? Like, you should set a daily non-negotiable of like maybe doing X amount of DMs or X amount of this as a non-negotiable, right? And the best way to do that is I'm going to give you guys this, right? So there's that, right? So yeah, Steve Jobs back in 1997, like when he came back, Apple was bloated, dozens of product lines, none truly dominant, right? His move when he came back to Apple wasn't to invent 50 new things, right? He does the same boring and ruthless thing. What does he do? He cuts. He asks himself, which products actually matter? Where are we truly winning? He shrinks everything down to a 2x2 grid, right? Which was desktops, portables, consumers, all that stuff, right? And guess what he did? Instead of adding new stuff, right? He's already got the validation from the market. He doubles down on what works, right? Like maybe if you are getting organic leads from school, right? And you've grown your community to, let's say, 600 people, right? What if you get in front of the school page even more and you double down school itself, right? If you're getting high quality from there. If you're already posting Instagram content and you already have the skills needed to grow out your audience, right? What if you double down on content itself, if that's what's already working for you and you go all in on that, right? If you've gotten some clients through outreach, right? What if you go all in on that, right? So these things that I say to you apply depending on what your strengths are, right? So here's the fix on how you do this, right? You just simply reverse engineer what works, right? For example, maybe are you getting a couple of calls booked, right? Let's say you got 2 calls booked for next week, right? Ask yourself, what did I do to get it? Where did I get this from? And how did I get it, right? When you ask yourself that, you remove friction and you simplify things way more. And it just feels way better, right? And then let's say if you've already gotten a couple of clients, let's say you've gotten about 17 clients or 20 clients, right? Then it's like Steve Jobs. You have a proven thing that works, right? What you do is now you do signal before volume, because signal before volume amplifies what worked, right? So if you've gotten 17 clients, something that would be smart that I would personally do is identify the 1 to 2 sources that actually produce them, right? And then after that, you cut everything. You cut the rest, you cut the bloat, and then you do more of that. Maybe it could be down to the specifics, right? Like for example, I've had times where I've networked in a certain group and I've gotten like 3, 4 plus clients just from that networking in one certain group. So what do? I do more of that. I remove the bloat, right? It could be in terms of where you got this lead source from, right? All that stuff. Like instead of casting a bunch of wide nets, if you just simplify and you cut it, you're gonna have more energy that goes towards the right things, okay? So here's the fix. It's not a new tactic. It's auditing what works, right? Because if you're always working in the business, like you're always sending DMs or you're always like just fully making content, but if you don't analyze, like, let's say you haven't gotten a client, maybe analyze where you've gotten your calls booked from. Like if, let's say your last 4 booked calls was from purely content, right? And you message these warm leads that you got from content, maybe just go all in on content, like make the best content, dominate that industry, right? For example, if you're crushing it on YouTube, right? And you know you could just go, if you truly go all in on YouTube, you could crush it. Dominate that space on YouTube. If you're crushing it on outreach, right? Go all in on that. Dominate that space, right? Just double down on what works, like Apple did with the Mac and later with the iPod. It's the fundamental principles, right? And then here's what happened. Apple turned viewers into an ecosystem, right? Every attention, they got followed to one simple path, right? People see it, they want it, they buy it, and then they stay in. That's literally the ecosystem, right? iPod ads didn't get eyeballs. They got people to buy, and then they got hooked into iTunes, and then they created an ecosystem like this, right? So that ecosystem, for example, like how I'm using it is, for example, for your coaching business, attention, right? And if they're super interested, then you get them on a call booked. And then after you get them on a call book, they turn into a client, right? And then obviously your whole ecosystem could be a school community, right? Like that's why ideally you want to stay active in a community. Like when I got my first 5K client, my community had less than 50 members, right? This is when I was doing YouTube coaching. It had less than 50 members, right? Because what happened? I got attention. People joined my school community, right? I was giving away value. They turned into warm leads. And from warm leads, they turned into clients. I didn't even have to do sales process. Because what's happening in 2026 is like people are so used to VSLs, and what's happening is like everyone's using AI, right? Like you're sending AI automated out messages, content, people are recreating AI content, and AI is just getting better and better and better. Why school is amazing is simply from the fact that there's no ads blasting you, right? So you could be way more focused. And people on school, oftentimes they create more than they consume, right? And it's an ecosystem. You have your ecosystem, you're seen as an authority as you grow your community, and it brings you traffic. And you guys are early on into school itself too, because like school's going to be way bigger in 2026 for sure, right? So yeah, here's like a little visualization, right? You get attention, right? Attention, you get that attention into booked calls, and then the booked calls into clients. It's just simplified into 3 things, right? So think of it like this. Apple didn't change the MacBook, right? They just put one great store in a bunch of different places, right? Literally right across me, I was walking earlier. It's the same thing. It's the Apple store, right? They just perfected what worked, and they just let more people walk in, right? Apple didn't open up 100 different kinds of stores everywhere, right? It picked one kind of store, and it made sure that a lot of people walk in, right? The laptop stayed the same, and then they just increased the traffic. That's it, right? So for you, it's the same. Pick 1 to 2 main ways people find you, right? Is it outreach, right? If you're getting people from school organic and you've exhausted your warm leads, maybe you could double down on school if that's truly where you got majority of your traffic, right? This is what I mean by auditing where you actually made your revenue, where you actually got your clients, where you're getting majority of your calls booked, right? And double down on that. That's literally going to multiply your thing. If you're getting it from outreach, let's say you've gotten 1 client from outreach, go all in on outreach, right? If you are getting a lot of your leads and calls booked from content, right? Like content, and then you message these warm leads, go all in on content, right? The main reason people mess up is because they split themselves between TikTok ads, outreach, all this different stuff, right? Just choose one simple thing and then go all in on that, right? Just get attention to the right people, book more calls from there, and then just get people to book more discovery calls from your coaching. So we're entering a process of removing, all right? So until enough people walk into one store, the problem is not going to be your offer. It's just that not enough people are seeing it. So if you're like, maybe you've taken like 7 to 10 calls or something like that, and you still haven't closed a high ticket client, it's not a problem yet, right? That's just the scope of how much you've done is not enough, right? Like think about it. I've taken over this much calls within the year, right? So like the scope and the volume of how much you've done is nowhere near enough yet. So just doing more, right? Like for example, I literally had a friend when I was out there in Miami. I had a friend, and he started his business from scratch. And instead of saying his offer is the problem and creating imaginary problems, right? He focused on booking calls, right? And literally he had 33 calls booked, right? And none of those 33 calls booked closed until he finally got a high ticket client. And keep in mind, he literally, I think it was like he fractured his, I don't know if it was fractured skull or something. He had like an injury, right? He literally had like a black eye too when this was happening. And on top of that, he took 33 calls, 33 no's, right? Oftentimes, some of us, maybe we've gotten our first high ticket client from only like taking 12 calls, 20 calls or something, right? He had 33 no's, and then he finally got a client. And what did he do? He just doubled down on that, right? Like what lead source did he get that from, right? Like how was the messaging, all that stuff. It's simply just doubling down. Okay, so this is the first thing that I wanted to cover. Now let's get into Q&As. What questions do you guys have?
I don't have any questions, but the part where you're talking about focus, like I resonate with that a lot. I was listening to the Founders podcast, and I was watching I think it was Todd Graves, like the guy who started Raising Cane's. I think they started in the 90s. They've had the same menu, like the same shit for 30 years straight, right? Like guys worth like 20 bill. And it just goes to show you, like, yeah, if you just stick to what works and just keep scaling that, making it better without adding unnecessary extra shit, you'll just continue to scale. Imagine you get like $1 billion, right? You're like, okay, well, I'm a billionaire now. Might as well add this. But the guy, like, he was like, no, I'm just stick to one singular thing, same fucking menu, same thing, and just keep scaling. So I resonate with that a lot. It's some good stuff.
And to add on to that too about the founder of Cane's, when he was in the trenches, you know what he had to do? He literally flew to different states and he was working in a boiler room, right? He was
Yeah.
working in a boiler room for like barely any money. And he was telling all these other people around him, he's like, I have a chicken finger dream, right? But we know that if we went to Cane's, we'd be like, we already know they've got good chicken. That's literally the only thing they focus on. They literally dominate that area, right? So that like excellence is breeded from focus, right? Like the Mona Lisa, for example. This dude, Leonardo da Vinci, right? When he painted the Mona Lisa, he went to extremes of focusing so well. Like he was literally dissecting hearts. He was a polymath, which means he took all these different interests and he took his passion for all this different stuff and he poured that focus into the one thing that he was doing, which is why it's so beautiful.
It took him 12 years to complete it too. So it's like, yeah, just unwavering focus. So I relate to that a lot.
Yeah, amazing.
What's Sulav and Aryan have done a fantastic job of this. What's the best way to warm up your school community? Like from the point that somebody enters until the point that they become a high ticket client, what are the steps that you guys are taking?
Soon as they join, message them. Do not sell. Like don't be like, hey, you want to hop on a call. As soon as they like literally, if you can get it 10 minutes or under, message them saying, hey, like welcome to the community. Click on their profile and like check if they're in like other groups. If they're not in other groups, go to their Instagram. Just like personalize like the message and say, oh, I saw you did this, or I saw your recent Instagram post on how you did a marathon, whatever. And then genuinely get to know the person, like connect with them, right? And then just have a conversation. Like I said, you want to do it based off their interests, talk about them, and then you can slowly like add in little stuff like, okay, so if you're selling like fitness, like, oh, so are you like into fitness and whatnot? And you could slowly ask them about their fitness goals. But I would say the biggest thing to like warm them up would be to message them as soon as possible, personalize the message, and then just have a genuine conversation. Don't try to like sell or book a meeting, but just have a genuine conversation.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say.
Relationships, yeah.
I'd say adding on to what Aryan said, so for your situation, you have a lot of warm leads, which means they've already kind of like consumed a lot of your content, right? So your leads, like you've been posting on Instagram for how long?
Consistently in this type of format since May, but really for like 3 years.
Yeah. So these people already know you, like you, and trust you. So majority of your leads are already warm. So what I would instead do is try to get them on a call booked directly from Instagram, because you mentioned these leads are engaging with you, right?
Yeah. Content.
So because your situation is you have warm leads, I would try to book them on a call directly from Instagram, right? But if this lead isn't engaging as much, then take them to your school. And I could show you guys, like, for example, I'll show you a real example. For example, I'm going to show like the chat me and Steven had, right? Steven's here. Look, but the thing was, Steven was a cold, right? I was like, impressive transformation, Steven. How long have you been coaching for? Not too long, all that stuff. At this time, and he's like, I'm in school communities, all that stuff. But he's like, I'm not trying to do courses. He even mentioned how he's not trying to pay for stuff, right? And look, I just genuinely had a conversation with him. I think I was cooking during this time. Hold on, let me click it. What's going on, Steven? Yeah, definitely great to hear that. Yeah, I think I'm cooking in the background. In one of these, I was cooking in the background, right? And then he even mentioned, right, like objection, right? Like, what's your offer, one-on-one coaching? How does it work? And then look, I'm literally just genuinely talking to him. And then what do I say? I'm like, hey, because Steven was cold, right? I have a lot of people that come in cold, right? That's why my community is filled with over 370 people. And this isn't from like just school organic. Majority is not from school organic, right? And the way I was able to get it is like, look, I have this group for who he is. And I was like, we go over sales and marketing, which is what he's missing, right? You want to find what they're missing, right? And to do that, even with your cold audiences, like maybe if you look at some guy and he's trying to get into shape and you're sending him a message, be like, dude, you've been working out. You must be already ripped, huh? Right? They're like, oh, no, I'm not ripped yet. I've been trying to go to the gym. So when you could add some sarcasm like that and you're like, dude, I see you going to the gym, dude, you must be shredded by now, huh? So when you say stuff like that, it's going to trigger people. It's going to trigger an emotion for people to respond to, right? And he's like, look, bet, can you send a link? Boom, I sent the link, right? And then I was like, yo, Steven, and then I followed up with him. This is like a couple of days later. So you see how I'm building relationships with people, even through like the DMs, right? And then I sent him a school group. I'm providing value. I'm like, hey, Steven, just bumping this up, right? You see how relentless I am in terms of following up with people? You guys need to like be relentless in terms of following up with people and build relation. He's like, yo, bro, how's it going? XYZ kind of. Then over here, I think I was in Miami Beach or something. I was walking from a coffee shop. And then from there, like we had a call, right? And then he booked a call, right? And you can see something that I do, like you guys can do this with your fitness clients, is you want to frame it. You want to almost give people an identity, right? So something you could be like is like, yo, like, Joshua, you're trying to lose weight. I mean, dude, you seem like an action taker for already like joining the community, right? So when you frame it as when you give a person the identity of an action taker, you're almost pre-selling before the sales call, which is extremely important, right? Like for example, Aryan, how much of an impact has like pre-selling, like for example, you use YouTube to pre-sell, right, for your agency, that how has that had an impact on you in terms of like pre-selling and nurturing?
Yeah, if you like pre-sell and you send them stuff like before the call, or you label them and stuff, you'll boost their close rate by like 10 to 20%. And it's not even the hardest thing in the world to do. It just takes a little more bit extra effort, and it can be tedious. You can automate it as well, but yeah, if you just pre-sell them in the sense of like you send them stuff before the call, or you label them as certain things, you'll literally like, it's a small tweak that you're not even on. It's something before the call you do, and you'll close more deals. It's crazy.
Yeah. So guys, like when you're if you're sending outreach DMs, for example, this could even be if it's a warm, like for example, Justice, for you, it's warm. So these people have already consumed a lot of your content. What I would personally do is try to just get them on a call, right? And also you haven't exhausted your warm audience yet, because you got 13K people, right? 13K followers. So I would exhaust your warm audience first. And for you, your strong point is content. So like double down on content, create better and better videos. And then from there, just convert these people into clients.
100%. And I think the relationship building that kind of both of you guys mentioned can come through in all of these different avenues, like DMs and content and community. I mean, it all applies, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's relationship building. That's really what it is. Because a lot of people, they just send the most randomest messages. Like I got somebody who just cold outreach me. I have people cold outreaching me all the time too. Me too, right? And I analyze it. I'm like, this dude messaging me being like, yo, can I ask you a question? That was his opener. Yo, can I ask you a question? It's like he could have used that time and space to ask me the question, right? But yeah, so that's just like, you want to like kind of analyze their profile a little more. Like something recently that I've done right now that's working really, really well is like, let's say I'm looking at a personal trainer and I'm trying to message him, right? And then I go to his highlights and then I see that maybe he's been to Cancun or something, somewhere random. I'm like, yo, bro, is that like Brazil or Cancun, or where is that? Right? So it's like, I'm taking a completely different context. So I'm coming in as a friend, not as like a cold DM, but as a friend. And then from there, like recently I messaged some guy. He was posting like a pre-workout. It was like, apparently Airheads has pre-workout. Right, and he posted, he's like, who would drink this? I was messaging, I'm like, bro, which one did you try? Right, and he immediately responded. He's like, bro, hell no, I didn't try that. Right, so you see how I came off as a friend? That's something that's boosted up my open rate.